My name is Tony Mendoza. You're listening to Potential Isn't Proven, the podcast, probably watching it on YouTube or streaming it live on Apple Podcasts, iHeartMedia, and of course, Spotify. Thank you guys so much for listening to Potential Isn't Proven. And yo, DV, what are we sipping on today, bruh?
Well, Tony, first I want you to keep my name out your mouth.
Okay, cool.
Today, I'm giving you a Nashville classic. This is Nelson's Greenbrier Distillery, the Belle Meade Bourbon. This bourbon's named is the Black Belle. It is cask strength at 54.55% alcohol, 109.1 proof. This is bottle 116. Back to you.
Well, first of all, DV, this is a super dark bourbon. And not only that, it smells freaking incredible. My goodness, I can't wait to take a sip of this. But before I take a sip, you know what you got to do is listen to the sponsorship. Cheers. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for listening to Potential Isn't Proven, the podcast. There's 3 ways you can definitely help this channel grow. And the first way is absolutely free. All you got to do is like and subscribe to my YouTube page and follow everything there is under DozaDirection. It's absolutely free and it helps us out a ton. So please go like and subscribe. The second way is joining my Patreon page. Under DozaDirection, you could be a part of for as little as $2 a month, anything there is behind the scenes footage, being a part of polls to pick my next topic on the podcast, and all there is. So join the La Familia. And third and final way you can sponsor this incredible podcast is by joining this little section of the sponsor video. Have your business or your organization in this little spot. Just email me at dozadirection@gmail.com. Have a great day. Let's go, Tony. Back to you.
Put it like this.
Because you're somebody's boss.
No, I'm not somebody's boss. I'm. When I was in the street, someone wasn't your boss. They gave you an opportunity.
Okay.
They gave you some work. You go make it, and then you bring it back. You can go buy your own work. You do whatever you want. It's called consignment.
So why this can't be all work? This corporate America, we could be using
you don't
this.
own it.
But I'm telling you,
I'm telling you why. I'm telling you why. Question. Let me answer your question.
I'm listening.
Can you give it to your son?
I give what to my son?
Whatever you
shares
working
of this
for.
company, I absolutely positively can.
How?
Why? Because I own shares of this company.
You bought them?
Yes.
What I'm saying is, can your son eat? Is this yours to give the whole company
this
to your
company is not my son's. No,
exactly.
It's not mine. But I own
wait,
shares
stop.
of this company.
Listen. That's not my question. If your son needs a job here, can you give it to him? No.
No.
If your son needs to get some money out the bank from here, some cash flow, can you get it?
No.
All right. You don't own this.
But I can take the money from here to invest in myself.
No, it's not yours. I'm not going to fight for something I don't own. Men don't do that. I don't fight for other niggas. I fight for me. I'm not a doula. I'm not going to build somebody else's company and then pick shares.
Yeah, man. All right. So that's one of my favorite. It wasn't a podcast. It is Power 105. It's a hip hop, urban, radio station played out of, centralized out of New York City. And that was one of the best interviews I've ever heard. And it was with Dame Dash. So the voice you just heard was Dame Dash. And what's today's topic? Well, today's topic is simply ownership.
I know you're gonna dig this.
And what do I mean by ownership? Well, the way I categorize ownership, there's 2 ways. There's the tangible and the intangibles. All right. Now, the way I think about it is that everybody needs to own something. You can own all kinds of things. There's things that I'm going to talk about in this podcast today that I don't own. There's things that I do own, or it could be just the simple mindset of owning that idea or having ownership over an idea. Now, the whole point of this podcast is simply this. I want you to reassess, look at things and say, okay, what do I have that is of value? And what I mean by value is ownership equals value as in assets, or it could be just a mindset. Now, let's go with an intangible ownerships real quick, all right? Intangible ownership. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is your mindset. absolutely has to do with your mindset. If you're willing to overlook or to go through a tough time, going through adversity, just having that you can do it all mindset, that is ownership. And not only that, there's times that you can, hold on, I'm going to change this little setting real quick. All right, we back. All right. So what do I mean by a mindset of ownership? What I mean is simply this. There's times that you have to own up, right? There's times that you fucked up in life and your parents or maybe it's your friends are like, yo, you just got to own it. You know, if you didn't make that basketball shot shooting free throws, you got to own that shit. And what do I mean by you got to own that shit? You got to take the responsibility. You got to realize that, you know, your potential wasn't proven. What you should have done, you should have took more shots in the gym. You should have stayed in the free throw line all day and take that shot. So when it came down to you making those free throws, and if you missed it, you got to own that shit. You got to own the work you put in. So how do I keep my ownership mindset? Well, I have little clues all over my house. So in my apartment today, I actually have a calendar and I just have a whiteboard. When I work directly in front of this calendar and whiteboard. Now, the calendar helps me take ownership of, you know, bills, when I release a podcast, what my next podcast is going to be, or even, I guess, if you're looking at it this way, even my trips. I make sure that I put on my calendar, I own when I want to leave somewhere. And, you know, that's ownership. That's diving deeper into those thoughts. Now, also what I have on that whiteboard on top of my calendar is a simple saying every month. I change it every month. And this month of March, I take ownership of writing something in that board. And it says, am I doing enough?
I know you're gonna dig this.
Am I doing enough? Have I made enough content? Have I done stuff in my daily 9 to 5 to bring ownership and to take on that role that I need to? And these little mental cues that I have, these mental clues, cues, whatever you want to say, these are things that I put all around me. In my restroom, I even have a little note to say, you know, just simple things that you want to kill the day. And that brings ownership into your life. Now, let's talk outside of mindset, right? What other things can you own? Well, it's kind of silly, but I know that we're all influenced by Instagram, TikTok. I'm influenced heavily when it comes to YouTube. And, you know, we don't own that shit.
Do you speak any English? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
We do not own YouTube. We don't own Instagram. You could be the biggest Instagram influencer. You could be a podcast host. You could be just a regular person off the street with an Instagram. You don't own the app. You don't own the platform. What are some ways that you can own Instagram or Google, right? You could buy stocks. Stocks is an intangible asset. At least that's how I view it until you take out that stock and have it working for you. And where am I going with when it comes down to social media? So even creating content, the content that I'm creating right now on this camera and listening on iHeartMedia podcasts, also streaming on Spotify and Apple Music. I always have to throw that in. Anyways, but even the streaming websites that I'm using, I don't own any bit of it. I don't own stock in iTunes or in Apple. And it's kind of scary. And the thing is, I always ask myself, if you're a YouTuber, if you're a social influencer, what happens if Instagram goes down today? What do you really have? And that's going to be a tangible asset along with your mindset. My mindset is that, am I doing enough every day? So I'm always creating content, thinking of new content to bring to you guys. And thank you to the audience that I have today. Now, let's go back to intangible. Intangible asset as in buying stocks. You may not own stock. I do own stock. Now, what is that basically? Stock just meaning that you have a little bit of, I guess you could say, you have a little bit of pull within the company that you buy stock. It's a little bit of owning the stock, owning a piece of the company. Now, I'm not Warren Buffett, so I don't own a shitload of stock. But what I do own is I diversified my stock in different areas. It could be technology. It could be, it could be technology. It could be hotels. It could be traveling, like airplanes. It could even be like stuff like Amazon. All these different companies owning a little piece of stock. Have a little share here, have a little share there. To give you a funny example, is my first time getting into stocks. I was looking at through the Robinhood app. Do not use the Robinhood app. But anyway, I was using the Robinhood app, and I saw that there was a JCPenney stock, and the stock for JCPenney's was wasn't a penny yet, but it was definitely under 50 cents. And I spent at least $100 on JCPenney stock. And come to find out, at the end of that year, it went all the way down. They went bankrupt. And I'm like, oh, crap. That's how fast things can change. So all I'm saying is, as an intangible asset, stocks is definitely one of those things. And now let's go into a tangible thing. Let's switch gears a little bit. I'm done talking about intangible. Let's talk about tangible assets that you can own.
Do you speak any English? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
I know you're gonna dig this.
All right, so a tangible asset, the thing that I love the most, that could be a lot of things. Now, when I'm thinking about ownership, you can own a house. You can own equipment. You can own a property outside of a house. So like a studio, something that you're renting out to others. And these are all items that I know people with a lot of different types of assets, and I know people that don't have a lot of different assets, right? So let's just talk about what I have, or at least what I enjoy using. Remember when I said that we don't own TikTok, we don't own Instagram, we don't own Snapchat? Now, you could look at a ownership of a piece of something that brings value is your phone. Definitely phones are now, in this day and age, you're able to make a business straight off your phone, which is freaking unbelievable. If you have an iPhone, the newest iPhone or the older iPhone, you have the ability to make money through these awesome apps. But what do I got, right? I got camera gear. I got audio equipment. So I made investments where I was able to utilize the other platforms that I don't own and show ownership in these tangible assets, as in my equipment. I've always been like this. And to my friends out there in San Antonio that have known me longer than 10 years, I see you boys out there, but you guys know that I've always owned something. Back in the day, I never wanted to bother friends on whether it was recording people or videotaping people. I've always had a video camera in my hand. And I think about when you look at the Potentials Improving poster, right? It was me sitting on a, sitting on a dresser, and you have all this different audio equipment. And that's when I was DJ Psycho back in the day. And my dad bought me my first little CD mixer. And, you know, when I had that CD mixer, I took the 2 CD mixer to a friend's house and I started playing music. I started playing music so much that they're like, yo, you got to come to my friend's party. And I went to that party and I went to another party. And before you know it, in 6th grade, I was all over DJing for people. And you know what that taught me? That taught me a sense of ownership. The reason why I wasn't the most popular kid in high school or in college or even in middle school for that fact. But you know what I had? And I realized this at a young age, is that I owned that little CD player. And people wanted to be around me because I had that little CD player. I started making money off that 2 CD player. I was invited to parties off that 2 CD player. And that ownership of that equipment brought me into doors that I've never been brought into before. And I elaborated in that. I started getting more equipment. I started buying recording studio stuff. I bought, and I still use it today, the actual thing that you can see to the left of me, if you're watching on YouTube, is an old MacBook, a MacBook Pro. And that MacBook Pro has Pro Tools and a bunch of different audio equipment, interfaces. I don't own that equipment, but you know what I do own is that computer. And I can always create great sounding mixes from that computer. And I've always owned these little things. Hold on, my camera just died real quick and I need a quick second. All right, we're back. Now, when I was growing up and having all those different items, all those different recording tools, I had people come to me. I had different acts, different people, musicians come to my house every day and record. And I really understood that. Why are they coming to my house? Why am I starting to have all these friends? And it's because I owned all this different equipment and I brought value to not only myself, I brought value also to the people that came to my house by giving them a physical CD. And that's when I realized that I love assets that are tangible. I love owning things that are in my hand today. Now, today, the car market today is crazy. And surprisingly enough, the worst thing you could do is buy a car as an investment. But today, if you really wanted to sell your car and flip it and make some money and buy a beater, you can make that adjustment and you can own something. Right now, when I think about my little sports car, I don't even own my sports car yet. I still owing payments on it. But if I flipped it today and I just broke even, I got enough cash in my wallet today to buy a beater, something that is super unreliable. And the thing is, it's ownership. I own it and I can make a little bit more money off of that. And that's how we make millionaires. That's how you get a millionaire mindset. These are all items of ownership. So why am I preaching to the choir? Why am I talking about this today? Well, it goes pretty simple, man. I want to make sure that when I'm asking you, I want you to think about the things that you own. If you're renting a house, it's all good, right? You don't own the house. But what do you own in that house? Could it be a bike? It could be a motorcycle or a bicycle, something that you can utilize to bring value to your life. I don't own a bike, but if I did own a bike, I could utilize that instead of a car, save money on gas, get multiple jobs, and work that way. It's all about proving that potential, utilizing every aspect in your life. I use these cameras every day. I use this mixer. I use this mic, and I bring value to you, hopefully. Not only that, I also utilize these tools so Instagram can go down tomorrow. YouTube can go down tomorrow. All social media could go to flames. At the end of the day, I still own this equipment. And I'm telling you guys this today. Maybe there's something you want. Maybe there's a product that you want that you're skeptical about buying, right? Maybe it's a really nice camera. And you're like, yo, I'll never use this camera. All I'm going to use this camera for is posting pictures on Instagram. Bro, buy that camera right fucking now if you can. Why do I want you to buy that camera? Because at the end of the day, screw Instagram. That camera will be in your possession forever. You can utilize that camera for forever. Bro, I am using a Canon T3i that came out in 2010. And that bad boy has created a business in college. Buy that camera. Or if you want to buy something else, I got some boys that are doing landscaping. You know what I mean? They bought just a bunch of landscaping gear. There's no shame in that game, baby. They're $100,000 a year businesses. I'm thinking about my boys that are also cutting hair. They buy the equipment. They buy the clippers. They buy all these items that allow them to bring value in their lives and create monetary value. You get dog. Think about this. Ownership as a barber, dog. Maybe all in, you can invest maybe $2,000 to be a barber. Now, obviously, you need your certifications to be a barber, but dog, you can make a living off a clipper and have a great life and create businesses. Fam, there's something that you want today that you haven't bought because you're struggling on spending the money. Bro, I will spend the money all day, even if I don't have any money. just to own a piece of equipment that may bring value later. These lights that I got on right now, I only use them for potting. But now I'm starting to use them for multiple things, maybe some photo shoots. At the end of the day, no one owns these lights. I own these lights. So what am I trying to get at? I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, and I'm not trying to keep this podcast long, but I just want to give you guys a little bit of game. At the end of the day, I think we've all had $10,000 in our bank account, right? At some point in our life, we've had $10,000 in our bank. Now, here's the thing. When you start thinking back on that $10,000, you may not have it today, but in time, you've had 10K. Bro, think about all the useless shit that we bought that brings no value to us. These nice clothes, our car. It could be food. I eat food out all the damn time, and it's a waste of fucking money. But that 10K that you had in your bank that you started spending on useless shit, right? Not buying stock, not investing money into the stock market or creating a Roth IRA or things like this that can bring value in your life. You spent it on useless shit. You bought bourbon, which is useless shit. Come on, let's talk about ownership. Let's change the game. For your next $5,000 that you're going to get in your life, it could be this week. It could be the end of the month. It could be next month altogether. Let's just say the next $5,000 that you get tomorrow. Invest it in something that you want that is a tangible asset that's going to bring ownership in your life, that's going to allow you to make money with that item. Buy a tool. Do not buy a product. I fucking love that. Buy a damn tool, not a product, and see how far you can go. So at the end of the day, I am surprised that I ranted for 22 minutes talking about ownership, but that's how important it is. You can create a podcast. You can create an awesome Instagram account. You can create things and start making money off Instagram, YouTube, you name it. At the end of the day, you don't own these apps. You own whatever you have and you're showcasing on those apps. I'm utilizing my voice as ownership. I'm utilizing my personality. I'm utilizing my cameras. I want you to find the thing that brings value in your life that you own outright and think about how you can make a business out of it. If you can make a business out of something that you own, it could be a fucking GoPro. Utilize it. Stop wasting that tool that's sitting in your cabinet. Take that tool out this weekend. Go film a fucking video for no reason, even if you don't know how to edit it, and just start creating. Start building your brand. And that's the last thing I'm going to talk about. Even these brands that we have. It could be a bourbon brand, it could be just a housing brand, it could be whatever. You got to start buying your IP, start buying the pens, buy the trademarks, buy all these things, because at the end of the day, your brand doesn't mean shit unless it's written down on paper. That's an intangible asset. But when you turn that brand into an IP, into a trademark, into a copyright thing that you could put into your portfolio, that is a tangible asset. But hey, shit, I'm tired of talking about ownership. We gonna get back to some fun shit next week. Thank you guys for rocking with me. My name is Tony Mendoza, aka DozaDirection, Mr. Imperfection. You're listening to Potential is Improving. Let's prove your fucking potential and let's get it, baby. Let's go.